Hi everybody, it's me Lara with the video for today. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about moon signs. I think I spoke last video about the star signs that you're born under, how your astrology sign, your cosmic sign, actually is your operating manual, for going through life. But there's something else that also has quite a big say where your operating manual is concerned, and that's your moon sign, the sign that is rising at the point of when you were born. Now, I pay particular attention to moon signs because the moon rules emotions, it rules moods, and for me, it depicts a person's character. So, for example, if you're, say, a Leo, born under the sun sign of Leo, then you might not necessarily have Leo traits, that are distinctly obvious. For example, I'm a Taurus, and as you can see by my red hair, I'm Leo rising, all right? So I portray a physical resemblance more to a Leo than I do a Taurian. If you knew me really well, of course, you'd probably actually learn over a period of time. I have the strong-willedness of being a Taurus. My mother would call me stubborn, but I like to tailor it as strong-willed. And I have that solid, hard-working stamina of a bull, all right? And that's my sun sign. So you may be a Gemini, you may be a Leo, you may be any of the other star signs in the zodiac. But the moon sign, and I have to say, when I've been reading for people, it characteristically quite often can be the star sign that's actually when you're conceived. All right, about 90% of the time, it doesn't always work out like that. So if you count 9 months back, I do feel, and the Chinese feel, because they like to actually also count a pregnancy from actually when you're conceived as opposed to when you're born, that really, that is it any surprise that actually the moon sign also correlates with that, all right? So maybe the jury's out with that. I like to talk about these things because these are the things that actually really get my mind going. The further on I go and the more people that I come into contact with and read for and also, help or coach or train in some way, I find this to be actually really quite prevalent. So the moon sign depicts your character. It depicts how you respond to situations. And you've got 12 signs in your chart, let's just say. But this, if you're reading your star sign in the newspaper or the magazines, or any media or even on the internet, right? How often have you actually looked at your star sign and gone, that doesn't sound like me? So it must be quite generalised for everybody. It must be just something that's right for everybody. And as an intuitive astrologer, all right, because I never really learned this by reading books and doing courses or programs, but as an intuitive astrologer, where I get the information channeled to me, I find that the moon sign has more of a say in your character than probably what you expect. So if you're looking at your star sign and say you're a Leo and you're reading Leo and it doesn't actually relate, if you knew your moon sign, then look at that side instead, you would probably actually pretty much connect with that one way more than actually the one that's obvious. Because people's characters are not obvious. People's characters, they can be quite hidden for a period of time, and a character is defining. It is defining. So I feel that it's movable, it's defining, you can change the circumstances that are presenting roundabout, but how a person's character is, it to me is absolute. It really is absolute. So I find it's a very good gauge of ourselves if we actually know what this operating manual, it's coded in our DNA. It is coded in our DNA, and I feel that like a piece of rock, where it's like stamped right the way through, that we as 70% particles of planets, all right, as the planets move, then the particles move within us as well. Is it any wonder that we can find ourselves on days, when we get up and go, I'm really not quite feeling it today. Personally, when Mars is actually doing pretty intense stuff, I find that I just want to go to bed for a few days. Yeah, I find that men as well, their PMT is actually pre-moon tension, all right? So as the run up to the full moon, as it grows particularly stronger, more powerful, more luminescent, the water in the body and in the brain, because the brain's a large portion of water, starts to affect their mood, their emotions, and you know, men's template and women's templates are entirely different as well. Women's templates are more wired to deal with emotions and mood swings and all the rest of it, whereas a man's template is very black and white. Although they have emotions, obviously, and they, you know, particularly nowadays, like to express their emotions more, a less evolved system is perhaps not designed to deal with it quite the way that perhaps a lot of men are really wanting to deal with it, and they can actually find it difficulty in expressing their emotions, causing problems in relationships, you know, at the same time. And likewise the other way around, that there's some women, I know Virgos in particular, and Geminis quite often can struggle a bit, you know, at the full moon. Aquarians too, they tend to be a bit more changeable around the full moon, the women, that they could have more than the necessary emotions required for the situation, let's just say, just because the moon is actually really, really powerful. You know, I find that the emotional side has quite a say over the character over a period of time. Then we not only are affected by them, but we can also affect others by them and also express ourselves in ways that perhaps that we wouldn't normally be able to express ourselves. And maybe this next cycle, actually, because we've just gone through a full moon there, the next cycle, maybe keep a track, keep a diary of how you're feeling, keep a diary of fluid retention, and also I would recommend that you up your fluid intake right now, because I tell you what, coming up to the full moon, if you've not been drinking enough water, your body and your mind, it will start to store it, and I find that that's even a bigger magnifier of emotions. We need fluid to flow, don't we? We need it to flow, and we need to be able to let go of all the shit that we gather during that monthly phase as well, all the crap as well. Now, I find that, you know, it's not just women that have the PMT, you know, the premenstrual tension. I also find that afterwards you can have the post-menstrual tension as well, and likewise for the PMT, pre-moon tension and post-moon tension, where the males are concerned as well. And if you're a man watching this right now, you've perhaps not even been aware of this before. And, you know, forgive me if I'm kind of stepping on any toes, but I like to talk about these things, and I think it's important to share them, give you a different perspective on the situation, and hopefully then you can discover more about yourself. Take what you want out of it. Some might resonate with you and some might not resonate with you at all. But I think that it's good to even entertain a different perspective, just to shed that little bit more light on yourself, the way you operate, and also if you get a gauge on that, then I feel that you can do so much more with your life. Was it Buddha said? Buddha said, know thyself, all right? And I don't mean sitting obsessing over your thoughts. I'm talking really be truthful about who you are, what you're all about, and then you can carve up where you want to go. And that's it. You know, there's certain things that we need to get in place and get alignment, because I would like to move on with the videos over the next few days and actually really start to get to grips with daily spiritual disciplines and intuitive disciplines and practices that help strengthen the mind, the soul, and align it with a higher consciousness so that you could live your best life. I'm going to say bye-bye for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed doing them, and I hope that you come and pay a visit for this next one. Bye-bye for now.